Welcome back everybody to episode 2 of the NITRO vs RAW series. Now first off, before we get into the show, this one will be a little bit different from our normal formula, as Raw was aired on a Thursday this week, whilst Nitro was aired live on the Monday. So I won't be going back and forth with this one. Now this would be the second time that Nitro would air unopposed, as Raw didn't air on Nitro's debut episode. Now, to me this is a little silly on Raw's behalf, allowing Nitro to get so much exposure early on. Now, I understand that we also need to take into account that there are other USA Network broadcasts that would have taken priority back then over Raw. Now, anyways, let's get into the WCW Nitro. So Nitro is airing on the 18th of September 1995 from Johnson City, Tennessee in the Freedom Hall. The attendance is 6,600. This Nitro episode is following the WCW 1995 Fall Brawl pay-per-view. Now for the full Fall Brawl results, please check out my review. I'll leave a link in the description below. Nitro begins with the announcers team, but it's interrupted by the sounds of sirens. We head backstage with Mean Gene, where an ambulance is backing up towards him. The back door opens and Mean Gene is joined by the Giant and Kevin Sullivan. The Giant explains what he did last night at Fall Brawl to Hogan, attempting to break his neck. There's not much to talk about here other than the Giant is happy what he did to Hogan the night before. The first match of the night is the American Males taking on the Harlem Heat for the WCW Tag Team titles. The American Males were initially scheduled to take on the Blue Bloods, Steven Regal and Bobby Eaton. However, the Harlem Heat attack the Blue Bloods before they can make their entrance. This is a bit strange, as you don't normally see the champions come out and challenge a team to face them for their own tag team titles. Both teams brawl to start the match. Scotty Riggs and Stevie Ray officially start the match. Bagwell and Riggs hit a double drop kick on Ray. Rigg tags out and another quick double team to Ray. Ray hits Bagwell with a sidewalk slam and tags in Booker T. Booker catches Bagwell in midair and power slams him. Later in the match, Booker hits a scissor kick on Riggs, followed by a outside crescent kick. Riggs gets the hot tag to Bagwell. As Bagwell's coming in and evening the odds, we get a glimpse on the stage where Colonel Robert Parker is heading to the ring. Booker T holds up Bagwell as Sherry prepares to hit him with her heel, but is distracted by Colonel Robert Parker and then jumps into his arms. Bagwell breaks away from Booker, but Booker attempts a pump handle slam. As Booker is pulling Bagwell up for the pump handle slam, Bagwell reverses and lands on Booker and pins him for the win. So we have new tag team champions in our opening match on Nitro. Next we have a short but quick Slim Jim's commercial. I think it's pretty cool that the WWE has actually left the Slim Jim commercials in the network versions here. Nice little touch. Now we have an in-ring promo with Ric Flair. Just a quick one here. Flair addresses Brian Pillman's interference in the match last night with Arn Anderson. Flair tells Pillman that he's going to beat him tonight and tells Arn that he's coming for him next. We then have a quick advertisement for this Saturday night's, well, WCW's Saturday night. Our second match of the night, we see Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, the newly rejuvenated Paul Orndorff, taking on the new number one contender for the United States Championship, Johnny B. Bad. Now this is less than 24 hours after his great match with Brian Pillman at last night's Fall Brawl pay-per-view. Now, to begin the match, Paul Orndorff quickly takes control after a drop kick to the knee of Bad. He gets him into the corner, then he's all over him here, beating down Bad in the corner. Now, this would force the referee to have to intervene and pull Orndorff off Bad. After this, Orndorff and the referee would get into an argument, allowing Bad to get some much-needed breathing time. Bad would attempt a comeback here, but he'd head to the top rope and attempt a top rope dive, which Orndorff would get his feet up and just stop Bad's comeback. We then have a commercial break. Now, returning from the commercial break, we'd see Orndorff attempt a top rope splash, but he would miss. Bad capitalized and lays in the punches on Orndorff, forcing him to drop to the outside to recover, in which he also grabs his mirror to check his face to see if he's okay. Bad appears to go for an attack to the outside on Orndorff, but he pulls back. However, Orndorff still drops to the ground and sells, even though nothing actually happened, so a bit of a miscommunication between both guys here. However, Bad would eventually follow up anyway with a crossbody to the outside, and then he would toss Orndorff back into the ring. Now, Orndorff would get the upper hand back here, and he'd attempt a pile driver on Bad. However, Bad would reverse this. Bad would then attempt a pile driver of his own, which Orndorff would reverse into a backdrop. Then Bad would attempt to roll him up after this backdrop, which Orndorff would just drop down onto Bad and hook his legs for the victory. Now, Bad's shoulders were not on the mat for the entire free count, but as you can see from the camera angle here, you can clearly see he's not been pinned, but the referee didn't see it. Next we see Macho Man doing some weights on the set of Baywatch, but then March gets attacked by Kevin Sullivan, who then throws some sand in March's face, and continues the beatdown until Flair comes and breaks it up. A bit of a save here for March. I found it kind of funny. It was just a weird place for all this to be happening, and yeah, just seeing March in his little shorts there. Following this, we have a Macho Man promo. Now, first here, March addresses Ric Flair's save. It says, "Thanks, but no thanks." He doesn't trust Flair, but who can blame him? March then tells us that he's going to destroy Kevin Sullivan, I suppose, when Hogan's probably finished with him. Savage then moves on and accuses Lex Luger of a cheap shot last night at the War Games, and also suggests that Sting and Jimmy Hart are also conspiring against him. Paranoid March is back. Now, I have to say that I must have zoned out during my review of the War Games match, as I completely missed this. Luger does in fact hit Macho from behind with a clothesline, but he is attempting to clothesline Zodiac, who does drop down. Something to give March a bit more to grab onto there. Anyways, we then have Lex Luger, who heads to the ring to confront Macho. Luger accuses Macho of being jealous of him, and then just basically tell him, look, I've been honest about what I want. I came here for a title shot against Hogan. Maybe you're not being honest with everyone else. And Macho agrees with him, but then he challenges Lex Luger to a match right now. Bit of a commotion, and then we head to a commercial break. Once we get back from the commercial break, however, the Macho Man and Lex Luger are gone, and we then get a clip of Hulk Hogan before last night's Full Brawl. Just quickly, now Hogan was signing some autographs whilst doing an interview with Mean Gene, and we had the Giant driving a monster truck running over Black Beauty. Now, Black Beauty is Hogan's Harley here. He runs over it and then continuously goes back and forth. It's actually quite funny to me. But then we get a quick recap of the Giant's attack on Hulk Hogan at Full Brawl. Now, finally, tonight's main event, it's Flyin Brian Pillman taking on Ric Flair. And Ric Flair's looking for revenge, as Pillman's interference cost Flair his match against Arn Anderson last night. Both men quickly lock up into the corner and trade strikes. Flair tosses Pillman to the outside and continues the attack. Pillman takes control back into the ring, and then Pillman would toss Flair into the corner. Flair goes up and over. Brian would attempt to follow up with a clothesline, however Flair ducks and hits Pillman with a clothesline of his own. Pillman then drop kicks Flair as he's attempting a top rope double axe handle. Pillman works Flair's arm on the outside. Now back into the ring, Flair has taken control. Pillman's begging for Flair here, and Pillman pokes Flair in the eye, I guess giving him a taste of his own medicine. Pillman attempts a top rope dive but misses, and Flair attempts the figure four, but it's reversed into a pin attempt. Both men collide and go down till Flair's able to recover. He'd hit Pillman with a shin breaker and then follow it up with a figure four for the victory here. Now, after the match, Flair jumps on the mic and he says, if not tonight, next Monday night. He wants Arn Anderson. And finally, to end the show, we go to the announcers who are closing out the show and giving us an advertisement on what's coming up next week on Nitro. Okay, now moving on to Raw. This aired on the 21st of September 1995 from Canton, Ohio. This was labeled as a special Thursday night edition of Raw by Vince McMahon. This show was not live. It was originally recorded on the 28th of August 1995, so we're almost a full month behind with these recordings now. Opening the show, we get a recap of last week's events with the issues between Razor Ramon, the 1-2-3 Kid, and Dean Douglas. After the Raw opening, we get straight into the first match. Razor Ramon taking on the 1-2-3 Kid. Now, Kid attacks Razor as he's entering the ring, forcing Razor to the outside. Kid attempts to use his speed against Razor, but Razor catches him and carries him to the second rope for a second rope fall-away slam. Razor slows the pace, throwing the Kid around. Kid rolls outside to recover. Razor hits a choke slam, but only gets a 2 count. Kid tosses Razor to the outside and follows up with a drop kick to the outside, which is not the usual type of drop kick. Back in the ring, Kid takes control. Kid locks Razor into a sleeper hold and holding him into the commercial break. Now, after the commercial break, we come back and Razor is still in the sleeper hold. Razor gets up and back body drops the 1-2-3 Kid to escape the sleeper hold. Shortly after, both men would collide but also hit the referee, who would fall out of the ring. As this has happened, Dean Douglas interferes with a big body splash from the top rope on the back of Razor. The Kid and the referee would both recover, get back into the ring, as Kid would crawl over and pin Razor for the victory. So once again, Razor's lost the match due to outside interference by Dean Douglas. Now, after the match, we get a quick backstage segment with Dean Douglas, as Dean is using the acronym DEAN to insult the 1-2-3 Kid and Razor. The second match of the night is Karma and Tatanka, with Ted DiBiase taking on Savio, Vega, and Bob Holly. Savio starts the match with Tatanka. Savio hits a hip toss combination with a drop kick on Tatanka. Karma jumps in to give the save. Savio would hit him with a hip toss as well, and then Karma would roll back to the outside. Karma and Holly would both tag in. Holly takes control with multiple arm drags and then works the arm. Tatanka slides to the outside to get the attention of Vega and Holly, whilst Karma enters the ring and attacks Vega from behind. Holly heads in for the save, but the referee cuts him off, allowing Tatanka and Karma to double team Vega. Tatanka and Karma continue to use the referee to their advantage to control the match and double team Savio. Tatanka and Savio clothesline each other and they both go down. Whilst this is happening, now both men get their, hot tags in for their partners, and Karma and Holly are both in. Now, Holly performs a top rope drop kick. Savio and Tatanka then go fighting to the outside. Holly would head to the top rope again, but this time during his dive, Karma catches Holly, but also loses his footing at the same time. And as he's pulling him around for the slam, Holly sort of lands awkwardly here. It isn't really pretty, but Karma wins the match here for his team. Next, we have a quick Razor Ramon promo where he's calling out Dean Douglas, and he looks very frustrated. Dean's had his number for 2 weeks in a row now, but he'll get his chance this Sunday at In Your House to get some revenge here on Dean. We then have a quick commercial for the WrestleMania 11 special. Then our next match is Pierre LaFitte taking on a jobber, Brian Walsh. Pierre has recently stolen Bret Hart's jacket, which he actually has worn to the ring here. Feet stealing items from the crowd, and most notably a pair of Bret's sunglasses, which he gave to a fan before his match. Now, Pierre takes quick control of the match. Walsh would attempt a comeback, but LaFitte stops this very quickly. Bret Hart's on the phone during this match with Lawler and McMahon, basically just hyping up his match with LaFitte this Sunday. LaFitte slowly wears down Walsh until he finally brings the match to an end with a senton bomb or cannonball. I think the match went as long as it did to give them enough time really to speak on the phone with Bret, because you don't really see jobber matches go this long. Now on to tonight's main event. We have Owen Hart and Yokozuna with Jim Cornette and Mr. Fuji taking on King Mable and Sir Mo. Before the match, we see a young Tony Schimmel pulling the ring duty here, reinforcing the ring as we're about to see King Mable and Yokozuna collide. I think that's sort of the big advertisement of this match, because it is a heel versus heel match. Before the match, we get a quick promo for the triple header, which will see the world title, intercontinental title, and the tag team titles on the line. I guess the winner would sort of take all in a sense. As the match begins, Owen and Sir Mo would start in the ring. Mo takes early control of the match. Owen gets back into the match with a clothesline. Mo hits Owen with a power slam and then tags in Mable. Mable then wears down Owen and takes the control of the match and just slows down the pace. Mo would then keep Owen in the corner, allowing Mable to work on Owen from the apron. Mo would then be thrown over the top rope by Owen, allowing Owen to get the tag onto Yokozuna. Now, Yokozuna is wearing down Sir Mo. King Mable tries to intervene, but the referee stops him, allowing Yoko and Owen to double team Mo. We then head over to a commercial break. Getting back from the commercial break, Mo and Owen attempt a spinning wheel kick on each other, but collide. Both men are down and crawl to their respective partners and tag them in. So we now finally have the confrontation between Yokozuna and Mable. Now both men are trading punches, however Mable gets the better of this exchange with Yoko, hitting him with a running clothesline. Owen tries to assist, but Mable would grab Owen and throw him into Yokozuna. Mo then tags in Mable to double team Yoko. Owen would hit a missile dropkick on Mo. Owen Irish whips Mo and then hits him with a drop toe hold, allowing Yoko to come and drop the big leg on the back of the head of Sir Mo, allowing Owen to get the pin, and the tag champs get to In Your House with the victory. After the match, we have a quick promo from Diesel and Shawn Michaels. Both men basically are hyping up their match at In Your House against Owen and Yokozuna, where all the titles are on the line. We head back to the ring where Vince is interviewing Jim Cornette. Now, Cornette gives a great promo here. He hypes up the In Your House match, but also stops to explain the history between Diesel and Shawn Michaels, as they did have issues within the past year here. Sort of bringing those up to the surface and guess giving the match another bit of a layer to think about. After this, we head to the announcers table where Lawler gives us his royal predictions on who he believes will win the triple header on Sunday, and Yoko is his pick to defeat Diesel for the WWF title. To close the show, we get a quick promo here for a match next week between The Undertaker and the British Bulldog. Okay, now that we've gone through both shows, we have to decide who won for the week. We'll go to Nitro first. Now, with Nitro's opening match, featuring a title change, I mean, that was very unexpected. But really, what you expect from live TV, you're well, anything can happen. Now, also, Nitro continuing on their feuds, which does involve their bigger stars. For example, you've got the Giant and Kevin Sullivan still pushing their feud towards Hulk Hogan. Macho Man now with Lex Luger. And on top of that, you still have the Arn Anderson and Ric Flair feud, which has just hit another level with the involvement of Brian Pillman. All in all, the show flowed. There was no stopping starting. Now, as for Raw was great the way it opened up with the Razor 1-2-3 match, but the tag team match with Tatanka and Savio Vega and Bob Holly slowed the momentum down for me, and then the Pierre LaFitte match where he takes on a jobber just killed all momentum that Raw had for me. Raw really tried to bring it home with the inevitable confrontation between King Mable and Yokozuna. However, at this stage in Yoko's career, there wasn't really much to talk about with this match, as it was just two big men colliding with not much happening. Not to mention, it was WWF's last chance to advertise the upcoming In Your House pay-per-view, which, to be honest, I felt they did a better job of advertising last week when they gave us a whole breakdown of all the matches to expect. So I felt like they really lost an opportunity there to give me a reason to watch the pay-per-view. I'm going to watch it anyway, but yeah, sort of trying to sell you pay-per-view, but you're not really showing all too much except a couple of promos and Bret Hart on the phone. I'd rather see Bret Hart wrestle. Raw's biggest problem for me was pace, and Nitro was just easier to watch than Raw was. The superstars taking on jobbers never works for me, really, unless It's a new star that they're building up, but it just doesn't make sense for me to stick around and find out who the winners are going to be, because let's face it, 99% of the time the job is going to lose. So both shows were showing at the same time, I would have changed the channel on that LaFitte match for sure. Before I choose, let's check the official ratings. Now Nitro saw a 1.9 rating, whilst Raw had a 2.7. However, as it may be apparent, I am going against the ratings tonight, and Nitro is going to win for this week on the Nitro vs Raw series. Do you agree? Let me know in the comments. I mean, who you thought and why. If you disagree with me, I'd love to know. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on episode 2.5, where we head to WWF In Your House triple header.